Well, we asked that question yesterday, and Ms. Garvey was not at that time prepared to respond. Last evening, she did communicate with the staff at my request, and we were provided a statement which comes from FAA, which I'd like to read into the record, Mr. Chairman. And it is, I'm told, authored by two individuals, high-level individuals at the FAA, Ms. Asmus and Ms. Schussler. And it's entitled FAA Communications with NORAD on September 11, 2001. Within minutes after the first aircraft hit the World Trade Center, the FAA immediately established several phone bridges that included FAA field facilities, the FAA Command Center, FAA Headquarters, DoD, the Secret Service, and other government agencies. The U.S. Air Force liaison to the FAA immediately joined the FAA Headquarters phone bridge and established contact with NORAD on a separate line. The FAA shared real-time information on the phone bridges about the unfolding events, including information about loss of communication with aircraft, loss of transponder signals, unauthorized changes in course, and other actions being taken by all the flights of interest, including Flight 77. Other parties on the phone bridges, in turn, shared information about actions they were taking. NORAD logs indicate that the FAA made formal notification about American Flight 77 at 9:24 a.m., but information about the flight was conveyed continuously during the phone bridges before the formal notification. So now we have in question whether there was an informal, real-time communication of the situation, including Flight 77's situation, to personnel at NORAD. Can you give us, from your experience, obviously you were not there on the 11th, but on your experience, what this phone bridge communication is all about, and whether it is likely, in view of this communication we have just received, that there was some informal communication of the distress of Flight 77.
Well, it sounds to me like when they went into the command center, they started calling up these different organizations, and that's the phone bridge. And they were probably doing the right thing, because they didn't have all the information yet. To bring in the air, sounds like they brought in the L&O. He opened up his bridge to NORAD, so then you get these organizations talking to one another, while above you, people are trying to figure out what do we really have here. That's what it sounds like to me.
So would there be an expectation that the military personnel on this phone bridge, which is that another name for a conference call?
Yes. Or it could be a VTC. It could be anything of that.
But in the nature of a conference call,
yes,
in which parties dial into a central.
Yes, and in our JOC there, you call up, you get a phone bridge, and that's an open line to that organization.
So if the military were apprised, as FAA is now telling us, in real time of what FAA is seeing on its radars, and now focusing specifically on Flight 77, that would mean that someone at NORAD was advised of the deviation from course, which is substantially earlier than the formal notification of hijacking. Would it have been expected that receiving that information, the military personnel or NORAD personnel on that phone bridge would communicate with other NORAD facilities, apprising them of the information he or she was learning in real time?
Well, I think to answer your question, I would think that they would pass it to someone within the NORAD command center. because that person on that phone is the radio operator. He takes the log and he turns around and he gives it to someone and says, we have a problem. He may not know what the problem is. All they know is an airplane is deviating from course and they're not too sure why, and okay, more to follow.
Would it be expected that the people participating in this phone bridge that day would themselves have maintained a log of what they were hearing?
I would think so.
Would it also be expected that there would be a tape recording of that phone bridge?
I don't know about that. I don't know about a tape recording.
I think these are some profitable areas for us to explore as we request additional information. Thank you very much.
Well,
thank you, Mr.